guys, it's Kanan.
It's Jesse.
And we are the Geeky Saying Couple, and welcome to our 16 RWBY Volume 8 Theories and Predictions. Now, before we start the video, I want to give a shout out to Aristocrats of Evil. They very generously gave us a shout out on their channel. They're a slightly bigger channel than we are, so we just want to thank them very much. They're a very great person. If you aren't already, you need to go subscribe to them right away. A link to their channel will be in the description down below. So before we start the actual predictions and theories, some major RWBY news has come of light. Now, besides our Bumblebee videos, we've not really been doing much RWBY videos since the finale. But you know, it's the end of June, about to be July. RWBY news is slowly starting to trickle in, so once big news starts dropping, we are going to be making more videos. We're planning on doing a reaction to RWBY Chibi. Even though we've seen RWBY Chibi, it's been at least 2 years. Like, it's been a while since I've watched RWBY Chibi.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
Plus, you know, just because you've already seen it doesn't mean you can't still laugh at stuff, because there's still parts of Chibi that I'm sure they'll make me laugh, even though it's not the first time I've seen it. We are also considering doing reactions to volumes 1 through 6, since we didn't do them on the channel, and just give our thoughts throughout the rest of the series. Probably after volume 8. Depends on how long it's going to be until volume 8 comes out.
Sometime soon as well. We're probably gonna also, it'll be something small, and we're gonna be doing it a bunch of people. That makeup brush challenge that has been floating around, we're finally gonna do that, since we have several versions we can do. Plus, I'll throw a couple other RWBY characters in there. It's just, we're in the middle of the Sahara dust clouds, so my eyes have been really bad, and I haven't been able to put contacts in, so it's just taking time, and now I'm letting everyone else that had some things stopping them get into that, so that's coming soon too. It might take some time, because we're collabing with people that are pretty much essentially all over the world, so we're just a little late to that party.
She's more behind that than I am, so this is kind of news to me. Anyway, we live together, but heck, just...
It's like, Phil, you tune me out.
Not on purpose.
I know.
Anyway, so some big news we didn't cover it in our Bumblebee video, but we're going to cover it a little here. Some big news has been announced, like RTX, as far as a physical convention, has been sadly canceled this year. They are planning to do like a virtual thing. They've not given details yet, so who knows, maybe all of us will see the Volume 8 teaser this year instead of just the people who attend, you know, who knows. Also, I believe Rooster Teeth announced today that later in July they are going to be part of a virtual panel for San Diego Comic-Con. I believe that was announced today. So we'll get some major news there, because we're still awaiting the Volume 7 soundtrack, the Volume 7 DVD and Blu-ray. That's around the time that the next book, the next novel comes out, and all that. So hopefully hopefully the month of July will be a lot of big news. But the biggest news was that Carrie came out and said it. Volume 9 is now being written. This is huge news, because this is we thought them starting Volume 8 right as they were finishing Volume 7 was fast. I mean, Volume 8, as far as being written, is done. They've already been doing voice work. I'm sure they're probably still animating and all that. But, like, it's not even, like, this is just wild. I never thought I'd see a day where stuff was already, like, being so fastly paced made. Like,
partially, I know it's due to all of the quarantine and everyone working from home, which also is another reason why our RWBY videos, you'd think it would help us making more RWBY videos, but our conventions have been getting canceled or postponed one by one, so it's put us really behind, because that was a lot of our focus with RWBY stuff. we were looking into panels, into more photo shoots, and that would have been more things to cover for our channel, and we just couldn't do it.
2 conventions for us have still not yet been canceled. There's the big one we go to, Colossal Con in Sandusky, Ohio. They postponed theirs until September.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, because it was the same weekend that RTX got postponed to. Kalahari makes a lot of their money for the year for that convention, so they are trying their best to still have it happen.
I got some news today that I wasn't too happy about.
Well, this is news to me.
This is actually a little bit ago from a friend. Kalahari's actually kind of in getting in trouble because they're not keeping to. They're pretty much doing business as they see fit, which, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with, but they're not doing any of the recommendations for the safety, so the health department's going after them.
Well, Colossal Con's probably not happening this
That's
year.
what a lot of us are worried about. Fingers are still crossed because that's just our biggest thing of the year, but they haven't said anything.
The one that I do think might still happen is one that happens in December. Hopefully, because it's so far off, they've not said anything, but I mean, who knows? 2020 might be the year of no conventions.
It's possible. That one's still a huge possibility. One, for the fact that Sevierville and Pigeon Forge here have actually, they've reopened, at least essentially to let things in. We might not get the full capacity, but that con's not very huge anyways. It's big enough, but fingers crossed, at least if we sadly lose Colossal Con, then we'll at least have that one. Hopefully.
So yeah, that was one heck of a long intro, but I mean, there was just some stuff to announce and all that stuff that's going on. So these theories and predictions, they're not ours. Like, we didn't come up with these, just us two.
They're things that we've seen floating around.
Yes, these have been a lot of these have been floating around, heck, even since before Volume 7. Some of them are... One of them I put for fun. I've only actually seen one person bring this up, which I thought it was a funny little theory. So like I said, these are theories, predictions, and just like what we think may happen in Volume 8. Might even prolong it to Volume 9 as well, maybe, because Volume 8 is supposed to be a longer volume. 9 is supposed to be a shorter one, so it's going to be kind of hard to gauge what's exactly going to happen between both these 2 volumes as we get to, you know, the middle of the Atlas arc, and 9 possibly being the end of the Atlas arc. So, let's get to the first theory. Winter's loyalty to Ironwood. Now, this one it's kind of a no-brainer as of right now, because at the end of Volume 7, Winter was still doing her job. She let Weiss go. She gave him a head start, but she was still being loyal. But here's the thing, though. Is Winter going to start questioning her loyalty when she starts seeing Ironwood is slowly but surely losing it? Because his reaction to her not getting the maiden powers, that scream of his, that's a sign of a man that's losing himself.
Yeah, I think, like, yeah, she's staying loyal. I personally think that she's gonna start questioning it. But the thing is, if he orders her, I know she slowly started to question when they had that conversation.
Yeah,
she really
she
started
couldn't look Weiss in the eye.
No, she's like, wait, like it was turning in her head, kind of like, you know, wait a minute.
And like,
it's not going to happen like that, like some people said. No, it's going to take time because Winter's been in this position for how long? I mean,
the only way I could see it being like that is if Ironwood really loses it and orders her to kill Weiss.
Or something along the lines as a back.
So but I really think it's pretty much a no-brainer that Winter is slowly but surely going to question her loyalty to Ironwood, question his motives, question his character, and she may eventually defect as well. I hope Winter does that. Any more thoughts on that one?
Well, the whole thing like, if you think back to the stuff that we talked about in other videos, the whole Robin Hood thing.
Oh gosh, you're going into Snowbird territory.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
and it's funny because I got you into that ship. Like, out of the two of us, I was the first one to start pairing Robin with. So, are you wanting Robin to rescue Winter?
we had talked about theories of things and stuff with ships before, and no, this isn't strictly about that. Just the picture that I have in my mind.
I mean, it does make sense, him kind of being King John in a way.
Because of how he's losing it, and her being Maid Marian.
Well,
that's
technically May is Maid Marian.
I know that, but
they've not really paired her and Robin together.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, just when you describe, him losing it, her questioning things, and then, I mean, you didn't even mention Robin, but it just... in my head,
Robin comes later.
I started picturing it, and I'm just thinking, well, now I'm kind of getting more hints of that, because he's losing his mind.
Maybe. I mean, because we've learned in RWBY, a character does not...
I would not be mad at all.
Well, I mean, we've kind of learned in RWBY that a character does not have to be the interpretation of that character to fill that role. I mean, look at Yang. Look at Yang. Technically, she's Goldilocks, but also she's technically Beast between her and Blake.
Which is why one character...
Belle and Beast.
Well, which is also why most characters, they can fit more than one character from different things.
It's like RWBY. Yes, she's Red Riding Hood, but she also could be Dorothy. So let's move on to the next one. The Penny, Pietro, Blake, and Yang Pinocchio / Monstro theory. I've seen one even as a big Bumblebee shipper as I am, I did not come up with this. So, at the end of Volume 7, when Salem rode in on the whale, I screamed Monstro. I don't think I did in our reaction, but...
I don't think, but that went through my mind too, and almost everybody else did as well.
So I caught it. I don't know who it was. I'm sorry if I've forgotten your name. If you are the one that I saw this...
Comment and we'll credit you.
Yes. So, Penny, of course, is Pinocchio. Pietro is Geppetto. Now we've got a huge whale Grimm showing up. That's Monstro.
There's no other way around that. It's just... What did they name it now? What did we name this one?
I don't remember. I don't remember what the fandom named the whale. I'm sticking with Monstro.
We need to keep track.
Well, it's been so long. I've not seen anyone mention it in a while. But someone made so in RWBY they technically don't go 100% the way the fairy tale went.
Well, no, it's not going to.
But someone mentioned, what if Penny and Pietro get swallowed by the whale? And someone mentioned the goldfish and Figaro. Blake's a cat.
That makes sense.
And Yang's whole thing is gold. So, what if Penny and Pietro got swallowed and Blake and Yang somehow got swallowed with them? Or they went in to save them? Not very likely to happen.
No,
probably
but
not gonna happen.
I didn't think of that until you mentioned it.
I was like, as I was reading, I was like, wait, the cat and the goldfish. That's exactly what I was like. That's actually brilliant, to tell you the truth. If I wrote this show, I would take that idea.
Or put it in Chibi.
Yeah, or put it in Chibi. So yeah, probably not going to happen. But it was a nice I thought it was a cute little theory, a nice funny little theory to laugh about. Okay, so moving on to the next. RWBY Kidnapped. This is where the Wizard of Oz comes into play. Because we all know Ozpin is based off the wizard, Salem is the Wicked Witch. Now, in Ozpin's circle, of course, Crow is the Scarecrow, Ironwood's the Tin Man, Lionheart was the Cowardly Lion, and all that. But the Wizard of Oz also technically connects to Team RWBY. RWBY's Dorothy. Zwei is Toto, though Zwei is not with them.
Come on, we need to see some more Zwei.
Yeah. Weiss is the Tin Man because she started off not with a heart, but she grew a heart. Blake is the Cowardly Lion, but she found her courage. Yang is the Scarecrow because she started fighting smarter. So
it kind of fits because if you look the circle around Ozpin, that's the dark side of it. They're the positive end side of it because they've got the end results.
You got Lionheart.
There's many stories, many versions of The Wizard of Oz, and there's some pretty dark versions.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where I think their side comes from, and it's from the start. It's kind of like also with Adam.
Well, yeah, because you've got Lionheart, who was so cowardly he betrayed the wizard, but he paid for that with his life. You've got Ironwood, who still hasn't found his heart, and it's driving him to the brink. Crow, I wouldn't say is bad or dumb or anything, but he's definitely been on a slippery slope since we've known him, and he was building back up, and now he's fallen back down with what happened at the end of Volume 7. So this really took off when we saw the flying monkey Grimms at the end of Volume 6. Because, I mean, how did the Wicked Witch kidnap Dorothy? By the flying monkeys. So I could very well see RWBY getting kidnapped at the end of Volume 8 and brought to Salem. I mean, because let's look at it this way. Out of the arcs, in the Beacon arc, all of them mostly took place at Beacon. But with chapters 4 through 6, the Mistral arc, Volume 6 was it was an in-between arc in a way. It was kind of like, it was a traveling. It kind of like, they were still in Mistral, but it led into Alice. I could see Volume 9 being a rescue mission, since it's going to be a smaller volume. RWBY gets kidnapped, the rest of Team RWBY, Team Juniper, or Ranger, or whatever you want to call them, maybe the Asops, what's left of them by that time, and everyone going to Salem's to rescue RWBY. Volume 9 could more than likely be a rescue mission. Who knows? And that leads into our next theory. RWBY loses an eye. So
I still don't know about this one.
I'm not a big fan of this one because I feel like it would weaken RWBY's one big trump card, and that being her silver eyes. I also don't other than, I guess, she would look cool with an eye patch, I just don't see what it would do for the show and her character, besides it just being a very tense moment. I mean, I know there's the whole thing with Cinder saying an eye for an eye, but we don't know how long Cinder's going to last. Because she's kind of, I don't know, Cinder's in a, they've done so great with Cinder's character, but she's such in a weird placement right now. I don't really know what's going to happen, even though there is a theory about Cinder in here. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the...
I understand some of the valid points people have made, but personally, I really strongly don't feel that's the route that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Cinder could make an attempt and thinks she succeeded, but clearly, in the end, she wouldn't have, and it just pissed her off.
Yeah, or that maybe they're teasing they're going to do it, and at the last minute, RWBY uses her silver eyes and it hurts Cinder.
Again.
Yeah. So, yeah, not really much to say about that one. Atlas's fall. This really isn't a theory or a prediction. This is more than likely gonna happen. I mean, you don't introduce a flying city and not drop it. How it's gonna happen? I mean, obviously someone's gonna take the staff. Because if the staff is taken, the city falls. Is it going to destroy Mantle as well? I kind of hope not, but we know how dark and depressing RWBY can get, so it might not be a happy ending for the people of Mantle. I don't know. And plus, there's Weiss's mom and brother. There's the rest of the Happy Huntresses. There's all those innocent people.
There's Clyde, whatever his name was.
I don't know which character you're talking about.
Who helped Weiss?
Oh, Klein. Well, we have no idea.
That's what, because he was mentioned, but
we have no idea where he's at.
Well, that was the point that
he might be bumming for coins on the street right now, for what we know. So yeah, this, like I said, not really I just have a feeling it's probably going to be as big as the Fall of Beacon was. I think it'll top the Fall of Beacon, no doubt. But it's not going to be something enjoyable. I just think it's going to be not good. It'll be bad. Bumblebee development. And of course we would have this. Because it's gonna happen. Who are we kidding? we get it in every single volume. Now, with this being a longer volume, and even Barbara has hinted, this thing is going to be a volume. So it's going to have a lot. So there's plenty of room for them to sprinkle more Bumblebee into the mix. Will we get the kiss? I don't know. Will we get the confession? I don't know. Like we said in our other Bumblebee video, we've both got a really good feeling for Volume 8. Either they'll kiss, and that'll be it, or they'll become canon, and then they'll kiss later.
Which I'm okay with that, too. Like, I want to see it develop, and I want to see it, it happen. See it physically come,
Because this is mostly based on this being a much longer volume.
Yeah.
So they've got space to have, and I think it was confirmed that there will be more character interactions in this volume. I think Eddie said there'll be more character interactions. So that's mostly going based on that. I really don't think they're going to go a whole other volume with Blake and Yang largely in the background. Wren and Nora conflict. I actually enjoy the conflict Wren and Nora are having, because for so long they've been complete background characters. Like, Nora has always usually been comic relief. Let's face it, she kind of has. Volume 4, we got, and Wren's always been this very zen, doesn't say much, very calm, collected guy. We didn't really learn much about either of them until Volume 4. They kind of took a step back in Volume 5. Volume 6, still kind of a... Because, I mean, for a good number of episodes, they weren't even in the show, because they split up. Volume 7, they did wonders with Nora. Like, oh my gosh. But they also showed a very different side of Wren. Now, it seems by the end of Volume 7, they may have made up a little bit, but... There's
still a wedge there.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
They had Wren literally yell at Nora.
Yeah. But, so, I mean, also, I can see... I mean, yeah, there's still people, there's still room to... That ship could sink, but I really doubt it. And
I mean, I don't think it'll sink.
No. But I've seen it said, but my thing is because I know there's others, we've already gotten rid of some of the other theories that between, like, comparison of couples of, in relation to them and all that. But the big thing I'm thinking is, yeah, they were in the background, but now that we're seeing a wedge, but we're seeing, they're seeing others and, like, another couple in front of them. Mm-hmm. For that to help them build and reconnect what they're missing.
They kind of tried to do that in Volume 7 with Nora's whole relating Bumblebee to her and Wren. That was kind of the point of that. Nora was seeing in Blake and Yang what she... Because here's the thing, guys. Even though Wren and Nora are kind of a bit more established because they've known each other since they were kids, Blake and Yang, even though, there was tension and all that there for a little bit, are already where Nora wishes her and Wren would be. They're openly flirting, they're laughing together, they're going on dates, they're doing the stuff that Nora wishes her and Wren would do. So that's why you had her comparing Blake and Yang's relationship to her and Wren. And plus it was RWBY's way of saying, hey, yeah, it's a romantic thing. You guys need to open your eyes.
But also, like, since going with also how quiet and everything Wren usually is and all that, and how we've seen him be, to see him open up and actually, like, it's and straight out from him, he doesn't know how to project his emotions to people and out loud. So now that they've become closer, they're actually together and all that, he's struggling with that. And I know one of the things that probably goes through his mind is, yeah, they've known each other for, their most of their lives, but the thing is I know part of him also probably worries, what if something happened to her now? What if, if I get really close and... In
a way, it's kind of like Blake and Yang, because Blake was scared of that for the longest time, and it actually happened.
And that hasn't happened between Wren and Nora yet, so that's part of his issue, but I think still one of my favorite moments, though, with them is the way he acted when they were in the Weiss Mansion, or the Schnee Manor, and how they all kind of just seeing him smirk and smile too was I like that.
The only thing I'm worried about Wren and Nora is I said earlier I don't think they'll sink, but then again, they don't have plot armor like
I
Team
know,
RWBY,
but I don't
so
see them getting rid of the ship though. That
well, they will if one of them dies.
well, that's my feeling.
Point is, I want to see more Wren and Nora angst. I think Bumblebee has had its angst. I mean, there's still some there that still needs to be addressed, but I think it's time for Blake and Yang to continue healing where there's still some stuff that still needs to heal with Wren and Nora, because apparently Wren is still haunted by the past, it seems like. Even though they killed the Knucklebee, it seems like there's still part of it that bugs him. So we'll see where that goes. Crow and Robin jailbreak. I'm actually really excited for this. I want to see Crow and Robin stage some really cool escape, or the Happy Huntresses break them out, like pure Robin Hood stuff. That's what I want to see. I mean, who knows if it'll happen. I mean, I'm kind of interested in seeing them brought to Ironwood and see what happens, especially with the history him and Crow have. But I'm kind of hoping, like, on, like, halfway there, Robin, like, pulls some kind of cool stunt and they break out. But who knows, like, because, I mean, it seems like at the end of Volume 7, they weren't really trying to break free. But then again, Robin, I don't think, still knows the full story, and Crow's still affected by Clover's death. That might take later in the volume for them to finally do something. Or the Happy Huntresses break them out. Any comments on that?
But that also, like, you know, with Robin not knowing what's going on, all she'd need to do is use her semblance to see if he's lying.
Yeah, for sure.
Which
I
I'm
think
sure she
they'll
will.
do that. I think they'll do that.
I think the thing is, I know a lot of people said, well, you know, Crow's he's made a huge development now. He quit drinking, he quit all that, and everyone's like, oh, he's gonna fall back. No, you'd be surprised. He may keep fighting. He did. Hey, I called that moment that when he opened his hands, what he was holding. So I called that from the beginning. So I think maybe that might be something to drive him forward more. Yeah. To keep him from, he knows if he falls down back to where he was, he won't accomplish anything and he'd probably get killed. So now that he's actually really thinking about things, but as soon as he finds out, you know, really sees that, I mean, I think he already sees that Ironwood's losing his mind. Like, he knows it, but if anyone does, he started seeing signs early on.
Okay. Now the next two kind of go together, but let's see what we can make of them. Asop's reaction to Clover's death. So this one's kind of hard to call, because we learned in Volume 7 that the Asops were really not close. They saw each other as co-workers, but not as friends. So they could potentially make ones like Harriet and Elm and Vine just be like, just make one of us leader. The only one I see it really affecting is Marrow. I could see Marrow just like getting really sad. Like, I kind of wish they gave him puppy dog ears instead of a tail, just so you could see his ears go down.
The tail would be animated enough, though, because they're more animated. Tails on a dog are more animated than...
Yeah, so sadly, it's because a few of the Asops, like Vine, we don't know enough about to really know what the reaction is going to be.
We got to see a little more, like, if we saw emotion and kind of unsure of the actions the Asops did, if it was from anybody, it was Marrow. Marrow is the one we saw the most confliction, like, in his eyes with things. So he's the first one I'm gonna say that's out of all of them anyway.
Elm maybe, but maybe not. I could see Vine and Harriet fighting for the role of leader.
But also,
I don't want to think. I don't want to think Harriet would be that heartless.
Yeah, but the one thing also with Vine is he didn't want to fight. Like, the whole thing that we talked about in the past, you know, I think it was the final overview.
Well,
how he reacted to
things. He figured that he was kind of like Elm in that she was going too harsh and that they should just focus on doing their job. Because that was the point of putting Elm and Vine against Blake and Yang. It was showing the two closer teammates of both teams fighting against each other, and where Blake and Yang totally understand each other. They move like water. They 100% understand each other, and we're on the same page. Elm and Vine were not. They were not on the same page. So that's another reason why they lost. And I believe Thomas, Unicorn of War, said in his review of Volume 7 that Elm and Vine were kind of the Asop's version of Bumblebee, just not romantic because of their teamwork and all that. And once again, that's another reason why they were the two that Blake and Yang went against, to show the two closer teams and who came out on top because of teamwork and trust.
But he is too hard to read.
Yeah, but we literally don't know anything about him really. So
like I said, Marrow's the only one that we really figured a bit more with.
So on to the next. Asop's further friction and Marrow defecting. This is very popular.
I've been saying that since I started really noticing even just the little things. Like I said, the emotion in the eyes, the reaction to things, and not wanting to fight Weiss, not wanting to do certain things.
Well,
so there's more to it than that.
Like,
that's little things I noticed.
Well, it's back during the training montage where, yeah, the Asops were kind of training them, but it really showed the one where it showed that the one member of the Asops that was bonding with them was Marrow, like John giving him his own cup of coffee and stuff like that.
The first time the tail was wagging, and just looked at him like, "Can I have that?"
Yeah, purely like a dog.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that's exactly what dogs do when they beg. But yeah, out of all of them, like, I see definitely maybe friction starting because they lost, for one, and two, because Clover's dead. They're gonna start fighting for the role of leader. Maybe. This is just theory. But Marrow, he's gonna be conflicted. He didn't want to fight Team RWBY to begin with.
He got to know them, so he knew what they were doing was technically probably what they should be doing.
I would not be surprised if by the end of Volume 8, Marrow leaves the Asops. Or Volume 9. It depends on how much time they have to focus on that. So yeah, not much else to say about that one, really. Villains Civil War. This is an interesting theory. So, we've got really 3 different groups of villains here. We've got Salem, and the two that are definitely loyal to her, Tyrion and Watts, which Iron would let live for some reason.
Because he's an idiot.
Cinder and Neo. Even though Cinder says she's still working for Salem, I still think she's kind of got her own interest.
She's got her own.
And then we find out that Hazel is going to most likely be in Volume 8 because Hazel's voice actor wrapped up voice recording. Now, he also does the sounds for the Grimm. So, but I think it's more than likely Hazel's going to be in this. So, there's something about Hazel. I guess it's the little bit of honor he does still have. Like, not, that he's shown that he might not be 100% loyal to Salem. He just may be doing because she can get him what he wants, which is revenge for his sister's death. But other things happening, like, he seems very protective of Emerald and Mercury. So, we could have 3 conflicting villain groups here at some point.
For the fact also, the last time we saw, like, Emerald and Mercury, especially Emerald,
That's the next one.
Yeah. I'll say that's definitely something that's been on my mind since that's happened.
We could definitely see the villains working against each other at some point, which leads into the next one. Emerald questioning her place even more. I think, like, a lot of people expect Emerald to leave Salem's group. Once she, Maybe she runs back into Cinder in Atlas, and Cinder does something that finally shows Emerald that Cinder doesn't care about her. I had a theory that it wouldn't happen maybe until, let's say, the RWBY getting kidnapped thing happens. If that happens, it won't be until Volume 9. And my theory is that Emerald, has a change of heart. She helps RWBY escape. And then Emerald loses her life she stays behind so they can get away. Salem kills her for being a traitor.
I'd love for Emerald.
I hope that doesn't happen because I think Emerald deserves better because of how yes, she took part in the plot that killed Penny and caused the fall of Beacon, but Penny's back alive.
At that point in time, Emerald was blindly following Cinder, and the thing is I'd like for her to actually see, something like, seeing what Cinder does and having a realization, but also maybe, along with that, seeing that from the beginning, Cinder doesn't care about her. Cinder was using her. I'd love for her to see something no, she doesn't care. She has been using me because of my semblance. To me, that's exactly why she recruited her.
So we'll see if that happens. No idea on Mercury. Mercury said he's where he belongs, so who knows. RWBY and Weiss splitting from Blake and Yang. So this started a little bit after that logo. The one where there was a slash between the R and the W. We originally thought that it looked like that the B was slightly damaged, and last time they did that, the W was damaged, and that's when Weiss got hurt in Volume 5, getting impaled. Well, nothing ended up happening to Blake, but some have theorized that it could be a sign of things to come, and something's going to happen, and Team RWBY is going to have to split again. And I believe Kaito Dan even said that he has a feel, he didn't say it in a video, he said it on Twitter, that Team RWBY would split again. But I think a lot of people have said that they don't think they're going to split individually.
No.
That RWBY and Weiss are going to go one way, Blake and Yang are going to go another. And why? Because see, I'm trying to think of a way the best to explain this. So unless RWBY does do it and they come up with the wrong way, this is the way I would do it. RWBY gets kidnapped, they rescue her, and to throw Salem's forces off, they split up. I don't know where Team Ranger and Crow and all them go, but Team RWBY and Weiss go one way, Blake and Yang go one day. Maybe this is how you get your return to Menagerie. Who knows? But I think I know a lot of people would not want Team RWBY to split again, but at least the two pairs of partners would be together. It wouldn't be.
And not for as long.
No, definitely not.
But
for
because
as long.
of things that are obviously coming, there's probably going to need to be a moment that they do split in their pairs, and
that they have to go on the run
to go on the run and accomplish things. So, I mean, especially if it could be a great way as far as Blake and Yang's side to reintroduce the White Fang plot again. And Blake finally taking it over, because Aaron has kind of teased that Blake is going to become the new leader of the White Fang at some point. But I can continue off of that. Another thing is with the things that we know are probably, still to come, since we know that RWBY is going to continue for however long. I don't think Salem's going to disappear for a while, so...
No. And the
conflicting thing between the three sets of, groups of villains is definitely a huge thing I think is going to incorporate somewhere, because they're not all working together, but clearly something's going to clash somewhere. But my point is the splitting up thing also, and that could also be with the Menagerie thing, recruiting, because they're going to need more forces to take on this.
Because really, after what's going on in Atlas and what they're setting up in Atlas, I don't see things being as simple as simply going to Vacuo.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening.
They're going to need to start building their own army, essentially. Not in that's military sense, but building their forces, because they're going to need anybody they can to help take things down.
And it's funny you said it, because if they do that, and someone says, you know, we still don't have the numbers, we need the Kingdom of Vacuo.
Yeah.
Team RWBY goes to Vacuo.
That's why I'm thinking also that also fits with my, you know, theory and hope of Blake and Yang going to Menagerie, because they're rebuilding the White Fang there. That'd be a huge key thing for them to go and do. Go see her parents and say, look, this is what's happening. We need to do this.
Erin did tease that she knows how RWBY ends. And she said something, she did say a little something about Blake leading the White Fang with her girlfriend. So, yeah. But yeah, I do think at some point, RWBY and Weiss are going to go one way, Blake and Yang are going to go the other. I do think it might be to hide from Salem, go on the run. Maybe Blake takes Yang to Menagerie.
That'd be a safe place.
Yes.
Because
RWBY and Weiss, I don't really know. Maybe that's how they introduce Summer back if she does turn out to be alive.
I still have that feeling. Like, she's not dead, at least to me.
I mean, Miles and Carrie have said she's dead, but I just don't know.
I'm taking that with a grain of salt until we learn more.
Yeah, because Miles and Carrie can be a little tricky about stuff like that, so. Alright.
I'd love to see Raven again, too.
Yeah, well, Raven could probably show up, too, around that point when they go on the run, because we still don't know what happened between her and Ty. I've got a little theory on that, but I don't think we're going to see Raven and Ty in Volume 8, so we'll hold that off for another video in the future. Alright.
Why? I'm going to keep saying it. I want to see why.
Alright, we need to move on. Hazel versus Oscar/Ozpin Part 2. Now, as I said, Hazel's voice actor has recorded lines for Volume 8. But as I also said, he does the voice of the Grimm, so, or the Grimm sounds or whatever. So it could be Grimm, it could be Hazel. Hopefully it is Hazel. So this could potentially lead to another fight with Oscar. Who knows how it'll go? Maybe Oscar gets through to Hazel, maybe, because Oscar has matured a lot in the short time it's been between Volumes 5 and us going into 8. Maybe Ozpin coming through and explaining to Hazel what really happened. What if it turns out Salem was the one responsible for his sister's death? I mean, it could go either way.
It's kind of hard to tell on that.
It's really kind of hard to tell because we've just...
It's a 50-50 split here.
Yeah, because we've not seen Hazel since Volume 5, so we'll just have to see on that. But that's another little theory going around. John versus Salem. So it was actually said, I still do not know if it's 100% true. I'll have to look into it. That Miles apparently did record some stuff with the voice actress for Salem. Now, did it mean Miles just sat in on recordings with her, or does this mean Jean is going to have an interaction with Salem?
Yeah, I've seen some of that stuff floating around, and I know I showed you some things for him.
Jean is Joan of Arc, so that's not good. Because I don't know if I've ever said my theory about... I do think at some point in the series, sadly, Jean is going to die. I do. And
I don't think it's going to happen yet, but I know
it'll eventually happen.
It might.
And my theory on how he's going to die is he's based off Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was burned at the stake. I have a feeling there's going to be like a burning building. He goes in to save someone, gets them out, but Jean's trapped. He can't get out. No one's going to get there in time to save him, so he just accepts his fate, and then all of a sudden a bright light comes. It's Pyrrha.
I'll cry. Not just for him, but just that moment.
And she takes him with her, and they finally get to be together. It kind of, like, I've also always had a theory that Jean, if this happens, I'm going to say it now just in case it does happen, they are also Romeo and Juliet. And that'll fulfill the Romeo and Juliet, both of them dying and being together in death. So let's see if it happens. Sorry, Jean fans, but I don't know. I just can't shake that feeling that something's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon,
No,
but
it'll be later in the series.
But it's definitely not something that's off the table there.
No, it's really not off the table for any of Team Ranger, Orange, whatever they're called now. Okay, so let's move on to the very last one. Neo betraying Cinder.
Oh, I've been calling this since the beginning of that.
So yeah, it's they're kind of making it obvious. If you guys hear it, it's thundering here, so I guess we're about to get a big storm. So this probably won't be uploaded till Monday. It's kind of heavily theorized that Neo is going to stab Cinder in the back.
What also, like, there was just key signs of it, but I saw it from the beginning. But what really was the ending, like,
Was the end of Volume 7?
oh yeah, like, she was, and everyone's because she was used to, you know,
Roman
like,
telling her good job,
like
and stuff
praising
like that.
her.
He was
for
kind of
doing it.
I know there's people that ship them, but I do think Miles and Carrie said that their relationship is kind of their relationship was kind of father-daughter.
Yeah,
so.
that's, to me, that's how it was portrayed too, and like the sadness, and then she just thought she did not just do that. Like,
Yeah,
the look on
pretty
her face
much.
said, "You're
Pretty
kidding,
much.
right?"
Um,
But she's been noticing, like, I noticed little bits, and that's very, very quick things too. Like, anytime we saw a reaction, like any interaction with the two of them, she sounded like the way Cinder reacted. It's just like, "You're joking. Why did you do that?" Like,
well, because we all know that Neo originally...
Cinder doesn't care. She uses who she can.
Well, we also know that originally Neo blamed Cinder for Roman's death.
I think she still does.
I think she does too. I don't, like, because if she did think Ruby did it, why didn't she initially go after Ruby? I think after Cinder showed off her maiden powers, Neo realized, I can't beat her. Not like this. So I think she's temporarily agreed to work with Cinder, make Cinder think that she is going to kill Ruby. Because someone did draw the parallel of Cinder and Neo shaking hands when Cinder also shook hands with Raven, and Raven turned on her. But yeah, the stuff in Volume 7, just Cinder not appreciating Neo for doing anything. And even though Neo is a villain, she has shown in the past she's kind of the character that likes being praised.
She's also, I mean, a villain, but there's also some have classified her as
anti-hero.
an anti-hero,
yeah.
because she kind of fits that. She fits that a bit more, because
Well, it's the
she
fact
doesn't
she can't
go-
speak. That
yeah,
also
that's.
kind of...
I was gonna say that's the next thing I was gonna say is that's another thing that Cinder will never know, is because she doesn't talk. So, did we ever find out why?
No, we've not found out why.
I'd like to know a little bit more.
In Volume 6, she pointed to her mouth. So I think she legit is mute. Like, she can't talk. I don't know if it was an accident. She was born... Because some people are born mute.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But I'd like to also know a little more about Neo.
Yeah, we do need a Neo backstory at some point.
Even if it's something little, I'd like to know.
But I don't know if that means Neo will exactly become a good guy.
I
would
think
like to
she'll
see... I would like to see her and Yang fight one more time.
I think she'll like stick with. To me, she'll stay in the territory of anti-hero. So she won't exactly be good, or she won't be bad.
Yeah, because
she's
really,
like Harley.
Well, in a way, yeah. Neo is like, she's not evil. She's kind of like, Neo would make a really good crime boss. She already looks the part wearing Roman's hat and all that. So I mean, well, it's technically her hat now. But yeah. But I just, and her song from Volume 6, it just really, really doesn't really foreshadow, like, it doesn't leave any question that she's going to turn on Cinder. If you listen to her song from Volume 6, you would definitely have a feeling that it's probably Cinder she's talking about. But that's the video. A little bit shorter than our usual RWBY videos. But you know, just when there's not much to build upon on these, especially when you're coming off right off the top of the head, it doesn't take that long to go through some theories. So next for our RWBY videos, unless some major news drops, I do know Lindsay, Kara, Aaron, and Barbara are going to be at a panel here soon. I don't know if they'll drop anything big. It usually seems like only the panels that anything huge gets dropped is when Miles and Carrie are there. So our next big RWBY thing, unless some big news drops, is our reactions to RWBY Chibi, which we're going to try and start this week because the episodes are very short. We'll probably do a bunch of episodes in one video. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way, you'll be notified of every time we upload. We try and upload almost daily. There's like if we upload a huge video, we usually wait a couple of days. But also, like the video, leave us a comment, give us your input on these theories. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think? Or give us
theories of your own.
Yeah.
Like, we'd like to hear back.
What are the chances of them happening? Because we always want to hear from you guys. You know, we've got over 200 subscribers, so please speak up.
It could be silly stuff. It could be,
yeah,
something really stupid. Like,
and
John's hair grows back out or something. I don't know, something dumb. It could be anything, but we want to hear you guys.
And plus, share the video around. That way other people will find the channel so the channel can grow. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We love you very much. Please stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.